Hi, Lauren and Ed, it's Rachel. I am so sorry. I'm sending you a hug across from West Greenberg.
Hi guys, it's Andrea in Washington.
Hi. What pages? What pages?
Don't know if you knew that my dad used to pick up coins when he went walking every day. And after he passed away, we used to find coins and know that he was throwing them down on us. So I've been leaving some of his out for other people.
Hi, Lauren, Ed, and everyone. It's Carla, sending you much, much love.
We'll begin our service momentarily. Once again, this is Rabbi Jonathan Blake. I'm both grateful and concerned that we seem to be over 100 participants. So let me explain what I've just done, and maybe Matt, as the resident tech guru for the Rimland family, can help me with this. Matt, I've set up a simulcast streaming over to my YouTube channel. It won't be as interactive as being in the Zoom room with me and with the rest of our many loved ones who've come to pay their respects and share their love for Jake. But it will at least allow people to watch the service. The only issue is if there's a blast email that might need to go out. Would somebody, Ed or Lauren, be able quickly to send a message saying that the service will also be streaming on YouTube? And I'm going to put the link in the chat window, and everybody will be able to see that link. Don't go there now if you're already in the Zoom, but for people who may be trying to get in and having a difficult time, just because Zoom sometimes, my Zoom doesn't always like it when more than 100 people try to get in. I would hate for anyone to be shut out of this beautiful and loving ritual of memorial. So once again, I've put a link in the chat box to my personal YouTube channel where the service is also being streamed. I'm also recording this morning's service so that if anyone if God forbid somebody is trying to get in and isn't able to join the service, they will be able to watch the recording of it. Please be mindful and respectful that you are on camera if you choose to speak or show yourself, and that it is being recorded. We'll start in just a couple of minutes.
Hi, Lauren, Ed, Matt, Ben, Harleen, everybody. I'm here in spirit and love. I'm just sending all my love to all of you.
And Eve, I hope that your mother recovers quickly.
Thanks.
Give her my love.
I will. Thank you.
Hi, Lauren and Ed and Matt, Ben. It's Diane and Chris. We love you guys. We're thinking of you. Our hearts are broken today.
Thank you for coming.
I'm Matt, Arlene. I haven't seen you guys yet. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Judy.
We just sent it out to probably most people are on there. So if they're friends who are popping you an email, then you can feel free to forward the YouTube.
Thanks. Appreciate the quick, reflexive response there. I apologize. Clearly, it's
Lauren and
to pay. Somebody's having trouble with their audio, so that's what happens. Somebody was just about to speak. If everybody else could remain muted so that we could have a word of condolence being offered.
this is Emily. I'm Dashiell's mom.
Oh, Emily.
And Dashiell, first of all, Lauren and Ed, we know too deeply what it is that you're going through. And, you know, as I told you, we've been able to tell Dashiell, and I don't think we can, because Jake was the first face he would see in the morning and one of the last faces he would see at night. And they became best of friends. And I just don't think his little heart could handle it.
Oh, Emily.
He would talk about
that night,
all the time.
Sunday night, that was one of the last things he was talking about was Dashiell. He had like a funny nickname for him, and he mentioned him on Sunday night after we picked him up too. So we know he felt the same way.
So he was very, very, very loved and appreciated.
Thank you.
Regularly.
For some reason, the MTK_Smart TV channel has an audio problem, so it seems as if there might be some loved ones who want to offer some condolences. I hope that we'll be able to hear from anyone who wishes to greet our family and anyone who is in Jake's immediate household. We're just so grateful for everyone's presence this morning. Here's what I would like to do. At this time, I've taken the liberty of muting everyone, and I'm spotlighting my own video. Good morning. My name is Jonathan Blake. I guess the most important thing I could tell you about myself this morning is that I felt very lucky to be Jake's rabbi. I wasn't Jake's only rabbi, but over the almost 18 years that I've been at Westchester Reformed Temple, I watched Jake grow from a wide-eyed, curious, joyful, living out loud 8-year-old into a wide-eyed, curious, living out loud 26-year-old. Like all of you, my heart is broken this morning. There will be time after our service of memorial. I will reopen the Zoom channel. The channel will remain open, and I have left everybody with the ability to stay unmuted. But out of respect for the flow of our service and for whoever may be speaking, including Jake's loved ones, we'll just kindly request that you keep your microphones muted. I will periodically interrupt just to give whatever Zoom guidance I can. I know that this is not an intuitive way of connecting, but I will insist that when somebody asks you how you spent your Friday morning, please don't say that you were at a virtual memorial service or a virtual funeral. Please make it clear that you were very much at a real service of memorial and love for somebody we all care about deeply, and that the reason we gathered together is because it was the closest we could come to putting our actual arms around one another to support Ed and Lauren and Ben and Matt and Jake's loving grandparents. We feel our love and our presence. It is not virtual, it's real. So our service of memorial will consist of some prayers and traditional offerings, some music, because we know that Jake felt at home with music, and we'll play a little bit of the music of our Shabbat service, and then we'll hear remarks from members of Jake's family and some other close loved ones in Jake's life. And then I'll offer a eulogy and the traditional memorial prayers, and then at the very end I'll invite anyone who would like to share words of sympathy to do so. You also have the opportunity throughout this ritual to use the chat window and to convey what you want to say to Jake's family in writing. And once again, we are simulcasting on my YouTube channel. I will put that once more in the chat window. So I've just teed up so that you can watch on YouTube live if for some reason you have a trouble with Zoom. It's about, I think, about 10 to 15 seconds behind on YouTube, so that's not an error. If you leave Zoom and go to YouTube, you'll be behind a few seconds. That's normal. There's nothing wrong. So let us take a moment for silent prayer and remembrance before we begin our memorial, as we bring to mind the incredible spirit of Jake Rimland and allow sweet memories of him to inspire our remembrance this morning. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לו אחסר, בינות דשא ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינהלני, נפשי ישובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות, לא ירא רע כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי. ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The psalmist wrote, God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me to lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters and restores my soul. You guide me in paths of righteousness for the sake of your name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. With rod and staff you comfort me. You have prepared a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. It is true that there are no words that can balm the hurt we feel this morning. Every song of the heart falls mute in the face of a loss such as this. All we have is the strength of our love, the strength of our caring, and the strength of our faith, our desire to take our bewildered and broken hearts and join them to the hearts of all who knew and loved Jake, for to know Jake was to love Jake. This morning at around 9:15 a.m., so just within the hour, I visited on the front doorstep of Ed and Lauren's home, and together with Ed and Lauren and Benjamin and Matthew and Harleen, we attached a small black ribbon to the lapel, which we then tore and recited a blessing. This Jewish custom called kriya, which means tearing, is an outward way of symbolizing that tear in the fabric of the heart, that tear in the fabric of family, that acknowledges in an outward way what we all feel on the inside. The words we spoke at that time ring true now. We said, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam dayan ha'emet. Praised are you, source of life. You are the righteous, though mysterious judge. It is tempting to ask why at a moment such as this. There is no answer to the great why of untimely death, but to keep living as vigorously, as beautifully as we can, for Jake's sake, but also as Jake lived, with this incredible curiosity about the world and childlike wonder. And still the heart rebels. I want to share with you a few words from a poem called Dirge Without Music by Edna St. Vincent Millay, who wrote, I am not resigned to the shutting away of loving hearts in the hard ground. So it is and so it will be, for so it has been time out of mind. Into the darkness they go, the wise and the lovely. Crowned with lilies and laurel they go, but I am not resigned. They are gone to feed the roses. Elegant and curled is the blossom, I know, but I do not approve. Quietly they go, I know, but I do not approve, and I am not resigned. As we take our hearts together and find the strength to carry forward through this difficult hour of separation, I pray that sweet memories of our Jake will allow us to feel a little bit of solace, as will the knowledge that a compassionate God would not ask any of God's children to live a life of suffering. And so if we feel relieved that Jake does not suffer, I believe that that is more than okay in the eyes of a God of mercy. I'm going to offer, by way of playing a video recording that my clergy colleagues and musician colleagues at Westchester Reformed Temple prepared earlier this summer when we were trying to figure out how we could make harmony and music together at a distance. It required a little bit of technical know-how and a lot of commitment, but the prayer that I'm going to allow us to experience together is called Hashkivenu. And I think it came out not too bad. The words of the prayer, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom, mean, cause us to lie down in peace, O God. Please, God, watch over our Jake who lies down in peace. It'll just take me one moment to call up the screen share. Little technical challenge. Please bear with me, sorry. I guess I have to reload the video. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try this one more time.
Go see her on Mount Batty, guys.
Rabbi, I believe you're muted.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I've gotten so good at Zoom, and I think the problem is that I'm trying to stream two things from YouTube at once. So I'm going to quickly improvise and offer the song from heart instead. Thanks for bearing with me. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu, uvoeinu, לחיים ושלום, מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. May God cause our Jake to lie down in peace. May angels of the Most High watch over him forever. May his soul rest. Together let us say, Amen. At this time, the heart of our service will allow us to hear words from some of the people who had a unique window into Jake's soul. So we're going to hear from Jake's dad, Ed, and from Roz, his grandmother, Ed's mom, from Alan, Jake's uncle, that's Ed's brother, from Marla, Jake's aunt, who is Lauren's sister-in-law, and Jake's manager at his group home, Sylvia. So, Ed, I'm going to allow you to speak, and that should allow you to be seen by everyone, but I can spotlight your video.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you, everyone, for joining us. You know what? When I sat down yesterday, this morning, and thought about what I wanted to say, I thought it was important just to start with the obvious and acknowledge that Jake had difficulties. He was autistic and he had epilepsy, and that affected him and affected us profoundly. We, like other parents who have children afflicted with these types of disabilities, always wish they would go away, but sadly they cannot. But for all these challenges, we did our best for Jake to live as happy and normal life as possible, which is really where I want to spend the bulk of my remarks. One thing that all of you probably know and recognize about Jake is that Jake loved all things Disney. He loved the wonders of animations. He was profoundly interested in everything that John Lasseter would put together as an executive producer, and took great delight in reviewing both the stories he put together and typing all the credits over and over and over. And as many of you know, he also used the lines in many of those wonderful animations in his everyday life as he communicated with us in a special way. Despite someone who loved to watch DVDs and worked on his computer alone, he loved being with others. He always liked to see new people, and it was always a warm hello to Jodi's mom or Becca's mom or Mickey's mom or Mickey's dad. He always wanted to be part of the team, whether that be a basketball team or a baseball team or sliding to home. It was always important for him to win. He was always the first to be in a restaurant. And while at first screaming out, "Hey waitress, I need more chicken fingers or French fries," he's always fondly looking at the name of their name tag and saying, "What's your name?" and repeating that name as he was trying to make a connection. When we thought back and really thought about all the tough times that Jake had and we as a family, we're overwhelmed by all the wonderful things that Jake was able to do, all the wonderful activities and organizations that touched Jake's life and the people in them. Although we see Jake as our Jake, we're touched by so many of the comments that we received over the last number of days and all the stories about people who saw Jake for just Jake without us, and that really touched us. And we thought back to the many activities and things that he was able to do, a Heart Songs music program when he was young, when we were told we needed to step out of the room, and beautiful musicians were able to reach out to Jake and to play the drum and learn about the violin. To skiing in Colorado, which really helped our family create two other expert skiers to my right and also on the phone with a wonderful organization called Challenge Aspen, where Jake and his two brothers became significantly better skiers than his dad. And we were very proud of someone who really connected to that organization many years ago. And for all the interns and ski instructors who proudly and without any concern took Jake for the day and helped him learn how to ski and be normal on the slopes. And to the many schools who touched him and really helped him develop as far as he can, to a young pathway school where he was perhaps one of 15 or so children in the school, to the Scarsdale school system, who helped him through special needs classes year after year after year, to the Center for Discovery, his first residential program, where we learned about cows and chickens and pigs, eating well and getting a very, very strong care. And then ultimately, his group home with the Carl McCluskey organization, with a wonderful, caring staff that always reached out to Jake and connected in Jake. And for the people that we interacted with and had a lot of comfort that he often thought of. It's his second set of parents with a housemate that were like brothers to him. And all the outdoor activities, backyard sports, ball sports, Zumba classes, billiards, and funny stories of taking Jake to a pool hall in White Plains, where he and I would play billiards on Sunday morning with a bunch of other characters, and bowling all across Westchester County, and bowling up in Maine, and bowling in Florida. And Camp Ramapo, his special needs camp that also we were so proud to become a part of for over 16 summers. Jake was able to enjoy himself and really spend time with a bunch of wonderful, wonderful counselors. And we also got the pleasure of joining him on winter retreats, where we learned everything that Jake had learned. And we learned where he learned to clean his plate and take it to the sink in a very responsible way, which we were very proud of and thankful for. He developed an interest in campfires and s'mores, and swam in the lake, and then swam in the lake again. And despite the COVID, we were delighted to spend a weekend with him and our family this summer at Camp Ramapo with Matt, to learn what he had known for many years about that special place. He loved his family, and he always looked forward to seeing them. He was the first to jump in the car for a family visit, although he would always fight with his brothers about who would get the front seat. And he loved to hop on a plane with his pilot Snoopy strapped next to him, and his extensive DVD collection, to visit family far away and to go on trips. He loved traditions, a Peanuts family Thanksgiving that my uncle fondly remembered, visits to Maine and climbing the top of Mount Batty, trip to Wass's, hot dogs for hot dogs, French fries, lemonade and water, and always in that order. He loved playing mini golf and showing his brothers how to make a hole-in-one, which was obviously made them very proud. He loved trips to Florida. He loved going to the beach. He loved going to Hillsdale and visiting his favorite hamburger place, proudly responding to us that he now thinks truffle fries are his favorite fries. He loved going to Florida each February and celebrating a pirate party at the Ocean Grill, where he would love to wear eye patches with his cousins and his grandfather, Clifford. Jake was very concerned about his grandfather and did not really understand his passing, always wishing he could get better. We believe now they're together, wearing their eye patches together. He would always ask for people, and the common line for him was, "Where's Bat? But where are Ben and Matt? Where are Ben and Matt?" When they got off to school. And despite COVID, we received a special gift when we were all able to be together when we were locked down even more, where the whole family got together, and Lauren and I, Jake, Matthew, and Ben were able to go through the normal daily things of a coin hunt, being together, which was a wonderful gift looking and repast. It all comes to Disney for Jake, and we believe some of the most insightful comments and desires and wishes he wants came from the many Disney films. Funny, he always called them films, not movies, although he probably doesn't know what a film is, but he studied them intently. Pinocchio, and he's referring to the line, I want to be a real boy. He wanted to go to school, just be like everyone else. He never complained about his disabilities. I was angry. Toy Story. We all had a hard time when Andy went to college and left his toys. And he had a hard time when his brothers, Matt and Ben, went to college. It is all part of growing up, which brings me to Lion King, his absolute favorite. Lion King, his favorite, which he probably has 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 copies of. Not the live action, of course, but only the animation. He delighted seeing the show on Broadway through a special group that brought access to special needs individuals. But 3 lines stand out. First, Hakuna Matata. No worries for the rest of your life. Jake was not worried about things other than his next payday on Saturday for his allowance, or can he sit in the front seat, and when will we go to the next restaurant? He was not worried about the events of the day, the stock market, politics, political correctness. Thankfully, and the help of many others, he lived a carefree life. Simba always wanted to stay young, and Jake much preferred young Simba to adult Simba. There was a constant state of argument between the two. That was Jake. He wanted to stay young. He was fit, frozen in time in a happy way. And lastly, Jake repeated time and time again to us and our family, we are pals, right? We will always be together. That was his message to us. To all of you who have touched his life and our lives, we love you so much, and we're proud of you all have accomplished despite the challenges. You'll always be in our hearts. And yes, Jake, we will always be together. Thank you for joining our family.
Thank you, Ed. At this time, Roz, will you kindly unmute yourself so that you can offer your remarks?
Is it unmuted now?
Yes.
Okay. It's with great sadness that we're here today to say goodbye to our grandson, Jake Aaron. He was, he was loved and valued as a special member of the Rimland family. Although we only saw each other during family visits, we remember so many good times. Lunch at the Nautilus Diner with chicken nuggets, fries, lemonade, and cake dessert. And God help you if you try to sneak a French fry off his plate. He'd give you that famous look. He loved swimming in the ocean of Vero Beach, running around Magic Kingdom and Disney World, delighted to see his buddies come to life, and visiting the trains in Pennsylvania, the wonder on his face as he saw the locomotives, and then the giant model train set. My point memory was during his bar mitzvah. We were hoping, as any parent or grandparent, that all would go well. Sometime during his part of the service, while on the bima, he heard a sound to his left, turned around, and asked Lauren why she was crying. Little did he know, most of us were crying, so proud of his accomplishment. Ed and Lauren are great parents, and Ben and Matthew are devoted brothers. They all helped him live his life to the fullest. Whenever we called and asked him how he was, he said, "Great, I'm just great." Great as well will be the memories of him that we will cherish and the impact he had on all our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Roz, sending our condolences. Alan, will you kindly unmute yourself so that we can hear you speak? This is Alan Rimland, Ed's brother, Jake's uncle.
Thank you, Rabbi. I'm unmuted. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you. If the measure of a man is not the number of days he has walked this planet, but the quality of those days, the number of people he has touched, and the lasting impact he has made on friends and family, then Jake has indeed had both a long-lasting and an impactful life.
Breathe. Breathe.
It's a sympathetic cough. Monday, the day my brother called me with the news, was a heartbreaking day and became more difficult as the news set end. I ended the day with a tribute to Jake, a dinner of chicken fingers, French fries, and a large lemonade. When I think back over the 2.5+ decades my family and I have known Jake, I recall most fondly his love of DVDs, his love of Disney anything, his love of Peanuts anything, his love of holidays, especially Thanksgiving and birthdays, but most of all, his love of family, especially his brothers, his loving parents, grandparents. I was especially in awe of this close relationship he had with Lauren and Ed. What can we do or take away from this sad occasion? In other words, what can we do to honor Jake and prepare his memory? I've been struggling with this question for a few days now. In addition to Jake's coin wish that Lauren and Ed have so eloquently shared with us, a wish that seems to take hold in places like Frankfurt, New York City, West Orange, Hillsdale, and other parts of this country, I would suggest experience joy. You know, as Ed said, Jake was always a very, very happy person. reach out and hug family and friends. This was always central to Jake's life and is not something to ever take for granted. As we all know, Jake was a big hugger. And lastly, Aunt Sharon, in contrast to the name Jake used to call me sometimes, Dad's brother, wanted to share a passage from a wise sage, Winnie the Pooh. Coming back.
We're coming back. We're back. This is actually our message, us Rimlands in West Orange, to Lauren, Ed, Ben, and Matthew. And I know that I have Jake's endorsement. Today was a difficult day, said Pooh. There was a pause. Do you want to talk about it? Asked Piglet. No, said Pooh after a bit. No, I don't think I do. That's okay, said Piglet. And he came and sat beside his friend. What are you doing? Asked Pooh. Nothing really, said Piglet. Only I know what difficult days are like. I quite often don't feel like talking about it on my difficult days either. But goodness, continued Piglet, difficult days are so much easier when you know you've got someone there for you. And I'll always be here for you, Pooh. And as Pooh sat there, working through in his head his difficult day, while the solid, reliable Piglet sat next to him quietly, swinging his legs, he thought that his best friend had never been more right. We love you.
Thank you so much, Alan and Sharon. At this time, we'll hear from Marla, Jake's aunt. Marla, you can unmute yourself.
Hi. My nephew Jake, where are we at? My nephew Jake was an amazing, beautiful young man. I am honored to have watched him grow up. He was at my wedding. We were at his bar mitzvah, and we spent many family events and vacations together in Maine, Colorado, New York, and Florida. Jake was always Jake, but Jake also had his special extended family. I will never see a Disney character, whether it be Mickey Mouse, Dumbo, Pinocchio, Tinkerbell, Donald Duck, Goofy, etc., without thinking of Jake. Every time I see Snoopy or any of the Charlie Brown gang, I will think of Jake reciting his favorite lines or dancing to a favorite tune. Every time I see Toad, Princess Peach, or the rest of the Mario gang, I will think of eating dinner with all of these friends lined up on the table. But one annual event stands out and will forever be Jake at his best. On President's Day weekend, our family and Lauren and Ed's family would get together in Vero Beach and what Jake called the Florida House. I remember the kids swimming and boogie boarding in the ocean, regardless of how cold it was. The big event was always the everybody birthday party, a tradition that Jake loved. We would set up the back room of a local restaurant with pirate decorations and celebrate everyone's birthday as a family. Not only did Jake get to enjoy his favorite meal of chicken fingers, French fries, lemonade, and water, we'd also end the meal with a big pirate cake, which was most properly eaten cake first, icing last. Everyone would get to blow out the candles. Lauren and Ed, you are amazing parents. You worked as a team to provide a wonderful family life for all of your boys, especially Jake. Lauren, you forever pretty mom, and Ed, you are forever super duper. You worked tirelessly to make Jake's life simply amazing. Ben and Matt, you have always had a special place in my heart. I only have 3 nephews, and all 3 are special to me. But for me, Jake was my most precious nephew because I understood his world just like I understood my sister's world. Ben and Matt, our experiences are similar in love and loss of our incredibly special siblings. You were both wonderful brothers to Jake. I will miss Jake, but I will never forget his sweetest greeting. Hi, Aunt Marla. We all love you.
Marla, thank you so much. And at this time, we'll hear from Sylvia, who was Jake's manager at his group home.
Hi, everyone. On behalf of the Belmont family and the Cardinal McCluskey team, I would like to thank Ed and Lauren for sharing your amazing son with us. Although this is a difficult time for us all, the times we shared with Jake were truly amazing. We have endless memories with him. Jake would always greet staff with a huge smile on his face and say things like, "Hey, Alan, today is Thoughtful Thinking Thursday," or "Today's Alphabet Day." I could still hear him saying things like, "Don't be sad, be happy." Jake loved to sing songs and tell staff about his favorite movie characters. He also enjoyed going on trips to Best Buy and Target to purchase DVDs. Jake loved Fun Fridays. He loved to go bowling with his staff and his favorite character, Snoopy. Jake loved everyone who loved him. He had his own way of showing each person. Jake was such a fun person to be around. If you were sad, he would definitely brighten up your day with his singing and him saying things like, "Sylvia, are you wearing your boom botches?" I have no idea where this word came from, but according to Jake, it means blue jeans. Jake was my favorite person to have a conversation with every day. Every conversation ended with, "Sylvia is sliding in sardines." Despite the loss of Jake's physical presence, we know that God has assigned him to watch over us all. Jake, you will be truly missed.
Sylvia, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who has shared these beautiful remembrances of Jake. I am touched by what you have offered us, and I'm recalling one of my favorite lines from the Babylonian Talmud, which said that words from the heart enter the heart. So for all of these words and memories, thank you for what has now entered our hearts. I want to share with us as a congregation of mourners this morning a few thoughts. This week's Torah portion begins with mourning. We learn in its very first line that Sarah, mother of the Jewish people, has died. And the rest of the chapter takes up all the things that people do when a loved one dies. Tears are shed, funeral arrangements are made, family bring their broken hearts together to remember. No matter how modern the way we are gathering this morning, the sorrow under which we are gathering is as ancient as humankind itself. There is no reason why the sun should set before fully risen. Parents and grandparents should never have to mourn the death of a son or a grandson. And for Benjamin and Matthew, no less, this blow strikes straight to the heart. Some losses can be met only with a mixture of inconsolable anguish, courage, and affirmation. This week's parasha, this week's Torah portion, begins in death, but its name affirms life. We call this portion Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah. It begins like this: Vayiyu Chaye Sarah mea shana, ve'esrim shana, ve'sheva shanim, shenei Chaye Sarah. Sarah's lifetime, the lifetime of Sarah, came to 127 years. Her age, though, is written in a curious fashion in Hebrew. The verse literally says, the span of Sarah's life came to 100 years, and 20 years, and 7 years. Rashi, the great medieval French rabbi, comments here that this unique formulation comes to teach us that at 100 years, Sarah was like she was at 20, and at 20 years, she was like she was at 7. Ageless. How very much like Jake. In a sense, Jake also was ageless. Only 26 at his untimely death, Jake was still very much the happy, innocent young boy who took delight in his armful of favorite stuffed animals, his favorite Disney and Pixar and Peanuts characters, in Simba and Pilot Snoopy, who, as we've heard, accompanied him wherever he went. For Jake, the things that brought delight into his heart and often prompted a spontaneous and loud outburst of laughter or glee never really changed. His favorite DVDs, a Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings, by which of course we mean popcorn and peanuts and pretzels and jelly beans, a letter from home to Camp Ramapo, which he would open with the same unbounded delight and surprise each and every time, a call from Super Duper or Pretty Mom asking for their handsome Jake, a long-awaited visit with his brothers, a favorite phrase from a favorite film, like "We'll always be together," a coin hunt, which would turn an ordinary walk outside into something extraordinary, a search for treasure. Jake gave us the capacity to turn the mundane into the holy, to turn the ordinary into a magnificent, marvelous, magical Monday or a fun Friday. It is not hard to search for and to find the manifold treasures in Jake's life, to see what was always shining in his soul like a coin on the pavement. I don't think we have ever known another person so pure, so untroubled by the anxieties of our complicated world. As his dad reminded me, he never had to worry about our fractured politics, or about how much was in his bank account, or what to make for dinner, or who was going to show up for his bar mitzvah, or all the angst over which adolescent boys so often anguish, what with the SATs and college applications and girlfriends and acne and what have you. Yes, I was once one too. No, Jake accomplished something in his too short life that many of us, I would say most of us, never attained. I'm sorry, Mike. This does not make it easy. I apologize. Jake accomplished something in his too short life that most of us never attain, which is the ability to be our most authentic selves, to live out loud. As Matt pointed out to me, expressing himself quietly or subtly was never Jake's strong suit. In this way and in so many more, Jake Rimland was our teacher. I was present for Jake's bar mitzvah together with Rabbi Jacobs. Who can forget that famous frantic dash off the bima mid-service to hug his old teachers whom he recognized among the congregation? Of course, there was a time when it wasn't altogether clear that Jake could, much less would, have a bar mitzvah. Is a bar mitzvah something we could consider? Ed asked Rick. Why not? Answered Rabbi Jacobs. And in that answer, a new door at Westchester Reformed Temple was opened. A commitment to inclusion that meant that every single person who entered the doors of our synagogue would be recognized as a child of God, and that Judaism would be open to every person. No condition, no disability, not autism, not epilepsy, would be a barrier to participation in the treasures of the Jewish tradition. But I think it took a Jake Rimland to teach us this principle, which we now uphold as a core value of our community. I'm so grateful. Jake also taught me how to be an uncle to twin children, now 9 years old. My niece, Shira, and her brother, my nephew, also named Jake, both of whom have cerebral palsy, who use wheelchairs and who do not use words to communicate. Jake taught me how to be a better rabbi. I'm sure that Jake taught his brothers more than they may have known growing up alongside him. Ben reflected aloud the other morning, when I was younger, I felt that our lives were largely defined by the overwhelming negative space that Jake occupied. But now, on a very personal level, I feel both a deep pity that he was forced to lead the life that he did, as well as a deep gratitude for the person he made me become. It took a long time for me to come to terms with the person Jake was. His presence made me into a more empathetic, grateful human being. And finally, said Ben, I feel relief because I know that his disability was a cause for suffering and he is not suffering anymore. The great Polish Hasidic master, Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotsk, once wrote, "There is nothing so whole as a broken heart. We come before God, united only in our brokenness, comforted, or perhaps more accurately, half comforted, by the awareness that we do not grieve alone. Like Abraham mourning his ageless Sarah, we gather with broken hearts to remember our sweet and constant Jake. Like the Sarah of our Torah portion, it is Jake's death that brings us together, in a grief-stricken embrace, but it is Jake's life, Chaye Jake, that will hold us together in our everlasting love and gratitude for all that was so good and so enduring in this singular human being, this singular and singularly beautiful image of God. Together we say, Amen. In a moment, I'm going to invite us to participate in the offering of traditional memorial prayers. Just a couple of announcements before we lead into the conclusion of our memorial service. Jake's family has noted that there are many ways in which we will perpetuate his life, his legacy, and his joy, particularly through the custom of a coin hunt. So when you find yourself with a little bit of spare change in your pocket, won't you please just leave it on the ground and let someone else experience Jake's own delight in finding it? Additionally, if you are moved to make a donation in Jake's memory, Jake's family has noted that a donation to Ramapo for Children, or the Cardinal McCluskey Residential Services, or the Autism Science Foundation are all meaningful expressions of some of the places and people who have meant the most to Jake and the Rimland family. At this time, I invite all of us who are able and so moved to rise as we offer the traditional memorial prayer, El Male Rachamim. These words, which mean, may God of mercy enfold Jake in a compassionate embrace forever. And in my offering of this prayer, I'm going to refer to Jake Aaron Rimland by his Hebrew name, Moshe Aharon ben Yaakov Meir Umichal Hatzadik, the righteous. El Male Rachamim Shochein Vamromim Hametzei Menucha Nefona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina Im Kiroshim Utehorim Kzohar Haraki Amazirim Et Nishmat Moshe Aharon ben Yaakov Meir Umichal Hatzadik Shalach Leolamo Bal Harachamim Yastirehu Beseter Kenafav Leolamim Vitror Rachayim Et Nishmato Adonai hu nachalato, v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar Amen. God, full of compassion, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Jake Aaron Rimland of blessed memory, the righteous who has entered eternity. God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up together with all the holy and pure who shine on like the radiance of heaven, forever in your embrace. God is his inheritance. May he rest peacefully, and together we say, Amen. Sooner or later, each of us answers the summons to return to the source of being, losing as we all must our grip on life when our time has come, even as a leaf must fall from the bough when its day is done. The leaf enriches the soil beneath, even as the deeds of our loved one enrich the world around us. Together we pray that God will watch over Jake's soul. Together we give thanks for Jake's life to a God of life through the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. You are invited to join me. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam al'almei almaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu, Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam araba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, V'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. V'imru amen. V'imru amen. May the source of peace bring peace to you who mourn and comfort to you who are bereaved. Together we say, Amen. You may be seated. We're going to conclude our service. I'll invite us to sing together if you would like. I'm going to put us onto a gallery view, so I hope that you can enjoy seeing each other's faces, after which, if you would like to unmute after we're done singing Oseh Shalom, of course you are most welcome to. The words of this song are, of course, the last words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Even as we ask God to grant peace to you who mourn, we also invite each of us to be an instrument of greater shalom in the world. May all of the world be a little bit more like Jake in innocence and the ability to appreciate something that can just make us smile for a few moments. Join me as we sing together. Oseh shalom bimromah hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Hamakom yenachem etchem betoch sha'ar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God's own comfort be with you, together with all who mourn amid Zion, Jerusalem, and the human family. Together, please join me as we say, Amen.
Amen.
This will conclude our service. You're welcome to greet one another at this time.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Thanks for bearing with some of the technical challenges. It happens on Zoom, but your patience and flexibility is very much appreciated.
Thank you. That was really beautiful.
Lots of love. So many beautiful messages coming through the chat window. So please, Lauren and Ed and Matt, make sure you take the time to read them. And I'll make sure that we save this Zoom, and it has been recorded, so you'll be able to experience a recording of the service, a film of the service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guests are welcome to unmute if you'd like to greet one another at this time.
Yeah, do gallery. I got it.
Hi, Lauren. This is Judy.
Oh, hi, Judy.
Oh, just want to say my condolences, and your son. Send happiness. Whenever I worked at Belmont.
Thank you.
He's such a person that he always, you have taught me so much about Disney World that I've never known in my whole time living. He loved you and had so much. He always say pretty mom and handsome dad. Whenever I enter his room, he always said, Judy, you're not Judy, you're the Judiest. And I must say it's a pleasure to know him. and he has taught me a lot. And I told you I will miss him. So my condolence to you all. May you find peace in this hard time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Harleen, can you hear me, Harleen?
You should be able to. Yep.
Okay, Harleen, I just wanted to tell you, it's Peg, looking like my morning self, but I wanted to tell you on your doorstep, since Jake loved Thanksgiving, will be pumpkins, fall leaves, and coins. For you, for Jake, and for me. I loved him in the short amount of time I knew him. So we will be in touch. Lauren, Ed, boys, I wish I could leave pumpkins and coins on your doorstep. They'll be there in spirit.
Thank you.
I love you all. Bye. See you next summer.
Thank you.
Hello.
Mark, hi.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Hi, Mark.
Well, I just appreciate it, you guys sharing Jake with me, and that was my boy,
You were day one with him, Mark, when he entered Belmont. You were the first person he met and went out with.
Yeah. So I just appreciate it, and just take care and just do what you guys gotta do,
Thank you. Thank you. The last thing he was telling us was wanting to go shopping again with DVDs with you.
Yes, I'll go home a DVD. I do. So you guys take care.
Thank you. Thank you for being there for him.
No problem.
I don't know how you work this. Does this work? I don't know if anybody can hear me,
hear
but
you.
that was an incredibly beautiful ceremony. Really so touching. And he will be terribly missed by people in my house. That's for sure.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. We love you too. We know how much you love Dashiell.
Yeah, they were buddies.
You were really good buddies. They were.
They were more like brothers. They would bicker like brothers, and Jake would try to get to the bathroom before Dashiell would try to get to the bathroom. And, when one of them were at home, it's always, well, where's Dashiell? Is he coming back? Or where's Jake? When is he coming back? So they bickered and they fought, but they definitely loved each other.
Yes, no question.
No question.
No question.
Hi, it's Kate Manieri from Cardinal McCluskey Nursing. I'm sorry I'm having technicals with my camera, so I can't smile at you all. But I was one of the lucky people who got to meet Jake and be on the screening and admission team when he joined us at Cardinal McCluskey. And Ed and Lauren are just so much fun to work with. All my memories are totally happy memories. I was always just impressed in a day and age when we all have lost the English language and the end of all the words, how articulate and well-spoken Jake was. And I enjoyed him immensely, and you're a wonderful family always to work with. And Jake was just always so much fun for me as a nurse and as a person. And my condolences, and I'm grateful I got to hang out with all.
Thank you, Kate.
It's just amazing just looking at the strangeness of Zoom to celebrate someone's life, but all the pictures of people and all the very specific and touching and loving ways that they all touch our lives and Jake's lives, and that gives us a lot of comfort. And it gave Jake a lot of comfort as well.
Hi, Lauren. Hi, Ed. It's Diane from Cardinal McCluskey.
Diane.
We are, I speak for everybody at McCluskey's, I'm sure, as you know from hearing from everybody already, that our hearts break with you. We are so grateful, though, to have had the opportunity to enjoy Jake for the time that we did. And help but think of Jake and think of the two of you and all of your love for him. he brought very much, he brought a lot of lightness and brightness into our lives. And for that, that light will always shine for us in our hearts. We won't forget him. He will be missed.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, for many of you, we want to thank you for all your time. I think probably at this point, it's good just to think about Jake. Plant a coin sometime over this weekend in terms of him and his honor. For those of you who are interested, there'll be a Shiva service Saturday night and Sunday night as well. So we'd be happy to continue thinking about Jake and all the great things that Jake was able to accomplish with the support of many of you. But we truly thank you for joining us for this memorial service.
Thank you. I had meant to say that during the service that my colleagues, Cantor Amanda Kleinman, will be leading a Shiva service of memorial Saturday. I think it's 7:30. Is that right?
Yes, Rabbi.
And Sunday, my colleague at Westchester Reform, Rabbi Daniel Reeser, will be leading another Shiva memorial service. These are further opportunities to keep sharing our love and our condolences. I think what I'd like to do at this time is I'm going to transfer the hosting of the meeting over to Ed, Matt, and Lauren, who seem to be on a single device together. And that just means that when I leave the Zoom, it will stop the recording, but it doesn't kick everyone off.
Great.
Because we still have a number of people here in the Zoom with us. And the whole time, by the way, and we captured the overflow on YouTube. So we still have about 32 people watching on YouTube who are welcome if they would like to rejoin the Zoom at this time, that you can. It looks like there will be room enough. So God bless all of you. Please stay safe and well. And sending my love, condolences, and Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to now make Ed and Lauren the host of the meeting. So I've just done that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
And again, looking at the screen, I'm seeing Piglet.
Piglet and
I'm
Pooh with the toes, we see him, and
seeing,
Snoopy.
I'm seeing
We see Piglet and Snoopy, yeah.
Miss Muzio or Gabby, who was with our family for many years, and people like who really touched him. And I think that it's just warm to see. Raquel and everyone else, and again, touching. Just a minute. I'm not doing that.
Thank you. Thank you, really. I mean,
we would invite you all over to our home, but we're not allowed to in these strange times that we're in. But again, thank you.
There's Snoopy. I see him, Eve. Oh God.
You in the room, but it's behind my my drape there.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Jake and I definitely bonded over Snoopy.
Jake has my original Woodstock and my original Snoopy, and I'm wearing my Snoopy shoes today for him.
Excellent. It was a beautiful service.
Lauren, Ed, Mass, Ben, and I'm so grateful that we have the Zoom and we can share it from Israel and be with you. It was a beautiful ceremony.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you, Neela.
You can
You have to
Miriam,
unmute yourself.
you're muted, Miriam.
Whenever you want, you can talk, Carla. You want to say something?
All I have to do is talk?
Yeah, I unmuted
Ah,
you.
okay.
Hi, it's Trish from Belmont.
Hey, Trish.
I have Miss Doreen on the phone. She wanted to say a few words.
Sure.
Sure.
Go ahead, Miss Doreen.
Hi, Doreen.
Hi,
Lauren and Ed and the family. How are you doing? I just want to say a couple of words. I'm retired from Carla McCluskey, but they're always in my heart, each and every individual that I've shared over the lives. My heart goes out to you with Jake. Jake was my first and only one that I adore as a son, an individual that he taught me a lot. I like to share all the things that we've done together with the pictures that I have shown you. Just remember his queen, and he was my king, and I always have Simba in my heart.
Oh.
God bless you, and many more. Amen.
And you're the, thank you, and you were the queen, and you were always Queen Doreen, in his heart and in our hearts. Thank you. Thank you.
To Lauren and Ed, from all of Jake's Israeli family, to all of Jake's American family, and to our family, Arlene, Lois Shapiro, and Jeffrey and Marla, and everybody.
ESP Productions.
The Rimland family has always been very close to us, even without this beautiful technical ability to really be close to all of you. And it's really heartwarming for us that we have the opportunity to participate in this sad event. Love to all of you from all of the Marxes in Israel.
And to Arlene. And to Arlene.
To Arlene, I mentioned, I said Arlene. Okay, especially Arlene. Okay. Lehitraot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Herschel.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here.
Ed and Lauren, it's Gary. Very moving service, and even a more moving life and lives to observe. The sources that we take for wisdom and inspiration as adults and as friends and as really essentially as parents, right, are sometimes right before us, sometimes a little bit less obvious. One of the more moving sets of relationships I've been able to develop over the last 15 years has been with you, and observing how you love your family is an inspiration to me to be a better parent, to be a more engaged community member, and to do a lot more to reach out and engage and love the other. There's a lot of talk about that. You not only talk it, you've walked it for Jake's entire life, and that experience is very inspiring to me, and I love you for that.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
You know, I think, again, just looking at these photos of people and friends and Lindsay who made the flag cake, the family who welcomed us in for Passover with Jake sometimes was a little bit difficult because Passover meals often didn't include French fries, but welcomed us with a very open heart and open arms. It's just warm to see all of you, and I just have to continue and look at it. It's not like the NBA with the NBA fans. These are personal relationships with wonderful families, which it's always nice to see, although under circumstances we would prefer to be different.
I just want to say a
quick hello. It's Ellen Donovan.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to piggyback on what Gary said. Working with Jake was genuinely the life-changing experience for me. He taught me more than any child I've ever worked with. And watching you parent him with the most beautiful amount of love and grace and understanding taught me how to parent my daughter when I had my own special needs daughter. And I can't even thank you guys enough for how much you let me into your home and into your family. And Jake has my heart forever. I have my Disney songs from him in my head forever. And I am just so grateful that I got to know him and all of you. And you know, I understand what you're going through. My heart hurts, but I know you had so much love from him. And I pray that you can take that through the rest of your life because he was such a gift. So I love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Ellen, too. Just remember, like they said at the bar mitzvah, when Jake took off to see you and Gabby at the back.
You know, just to share others, what we're seeing again, in many ways, connecting with people who see Jake away from us is almost even more illuminating. I'm seeing a camp counselor from Camp Ramapo that they built a relationship in a very organic way that we sort of knew about when they greeted us on the way in and way out, but there were weeks and weeks together, which all grew organically. And can't tell you how warming that is to see and to understand. And we were sharing with someone who's been with our family for a while, Raquel, how one of the reasons why she was so important to our family is we were able to go out, Laura and I, once or twice, and we were able to do that because we know we had another loving person like Raquel and a lot of other people who spoke today that Jake trusted and thought of someone that he can spend time with, as did we. And again, that really means a lot to us. And in a very funny way, just looking at someone who joined on the upper right, Eric, who we probably haven't seen since our last boy was bar mitzvah, which would be Matt, which would be, if I do my math right, how many years, Matt? 8 years ago.
8 years.
So for Jake, more like 13 years ago. And him coming to us that as far as bar mitzvah productions, he never takes off his tuxedo jacket, and for Jake he did. And pretty warming to think about.
You guys don't age.
Neither do you. And to see you. We're just so touched.
Only love for you guys. You guys know that.
Thank you. I'm just overwhelmed at how many people this is touched, and we don't realize it.
Especially since, I think I saw this at one point in the Zoom call, there were like 100, not just people, but devices as well. And I'm sure there were at least like 2 people per device or.
So we all have lives that we can move forward. Obviously, we want to reflect on this wonderful service that all of us were part of. We've sent information around from Shiva, which we would love to continue talking about Jake and his life. If you didn't get it, then send us an email or ask someone on the call, and then be happy to send it around if you would like to join us. But we really thank you, and I think we're probably going to end this Zoom call and reflect as a family. But we thank all of you for your time.
There's Lisa's mom.
And your really, really kind and thoughtful thoughts. You know where to reach us. We'll be out putting some coins out today. We love all of you for being a part of it and joining us for this ceremony.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. I'm going to sign
Blowing
off.
kisses and hugs. Thank you. We feel all your love. Thank you. Thank you for being in our hearts and helping make Jake who he was too. And we couldn't have done it without anybody else. And thank you. Thank you for being here.
Love you guys so much.
Thank you.
guys too. Bye.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
It will be.
Love you guys.